A very good evening for all those who have gathered for another wonderful evening of isoTalks. I, Akila Lakshan from E16 batch, warmly welcome you to the event on behalf of the Society of Chemical and Process Engineering students. For those who are new to this program, isoTalks is one of the three elements where discussion sessions and workshops being second and third elements of a brand new initiation named isoTalks from the Society of Chemical and Process Engineering students. The objective of the Isotopes program series is to close the gap between academia and industry related to the subject of chemical and process engineering. Isotalks is a webinar series where the representatives from industry and academic professionals meet the academia, while the discussion series creates a much more casual stage for industry and academia related concerns. In the workshop series, students are tolerated to gather hands-on experience with industry-related tools comprising simulation softwares, pilot scale projects, and etc. The last webinar of iStalks was held under the topic Machine Learning Aided Computational Catalysis and Material Discovery, and the guest speaker was Mr. Sanka Vijayaratne. For those who have missed the session, the links are now displayed in the chat box. Today, we are commencing the sixth session of the iStalks webinar series under the topic Opportunities Don't Happen, You Create Them. And with my absolute pleasure, I introduce our guest speaker, Ms. Thanushi Perera. Ms. Thanushi Perera graduated from University of Peradeniya as a chemical and process engineer, and then she completed her master's degree from University of Moratuwa. Among her other qualifications, Lean Six Sigma Black Belt from TQM International India, Management and Accounting Diploma from CIMA, and Project Management Certificate from Ansel Project Management Council stands out. She is also equipped with the vast knowledge she has gained during her career with a number of multinational companies for over 5 years. Currently, she serves as an associate manager for the ANSYS Lanka Group, and she has extensively proved herself in the areas such as water treatment, wastewater treatment, engineering and capital projects, asset response planning, and integrated work systems. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further delays, let's warmly welcome Ms. Thanushi Perera, and dear madam, the session is over to you.
Thank you, Akila. Can you all hear me well?
Yes, madam, we can hear you.
Okay, let me share the screen then. Can you see my presentation as well?
Not yet, madam.
How about now?
No, madam, I'm afraid still I'm seeing the camera view.
Can you see
Yes,
now?
madam, now it is the screen.
Okay, thank you, Akila. So, first of all, a very good evening to you, and also thank you very much for inviting me for this session today. And thank you very much for the kind introduction, Akila. So, without further ado, let us go through the small slide deck that I have prepared, trying to convey my story so far. So, before we go through this, I would like to tell you that not so long ago was I a student at the Chemical and Process Engineering Department at the Faculty of Engineering, as you know. So please feel free, do not hesitate to stop me if you have anything further to clarify. So I will tell you the reason why I actually selected this particular context. Opportunities don't happen, but you need to create them. So let's move ahead. So this is basically the start of my story. So first, I have to say that I will be talking about all the experiences that I have from working at two multinational companies so far. So I graduated back in 2016, and then I got hired from a leading multinational. So when I take you through this, just please note that I'm not talking about only the success, but also ups and downs that I have experienced so far. So that will help to shape your career. So any inspiration that you can gather, please feel free to grab it. So as I was saying, I got hired from a leading multinational company in Sri Lanka, Fonterra, back in 2016 December. So I think the first point that I have to emphasize is basically how you handle and present yourself is more important than anything else. How did I get into that particular multinational? That is because a well-written CV is it may not be the most important factor when you face a certain interview. So I'm telling you this, and I will actually share my experiences. As I told you, I'm going to be very frank. So I remember back in 2016 when it was close to the job fair. Um, so that less than 24 hours to go for the career fair, I didn't have a CV prepared. I had a draft, but I didn't actually take any printout either, because in my mind I was wondering, more than a CV, what should I actually focus? It's about facing an interview. How do I handle myself? How do I present myself? And most importantly, it's going to be if there are final years, I'm not sure if you have already had it, but the career fair, and if you have not really had a lot of work experiences, especially in multinationals, because the working cultures are so different. So it's going to be a very nervous day, I would say. So you have to have all your nerves under control to show the best version of you. So I would say, more than stressing out on your CV, of course, a CV is important, but try to be the best version of yourself. And for that, practice and look at videos and do mock interviews between the batchmates, and that will really help to face an interview in a really better way than you think. I remember when I walked into the interview, the first interview I faced was at MIT. So I didn't, the only reason why I walked in is because I wanted to get some sense or a flavor of what an interview is going to be, because I didn't want to straightly walk into somewhere like Pontera without having a lot of actual experience about facing an interview. So likewise, please stress on your the way you present on that particular day, and keep all your nerves under control, and that will really help you to get into somewhere like that. So that was just the start. So when I started at Fonterra, I worked as the first engineering trainee at Fonterra. There was no particular role called the engineering trainee that time. So, and then it was a heavily application based stint, I would say. Several at the wastewater plant, at the raw water treatment plant, and then in engineering capital projects where the drinking yogurt filling machine was commissioned. A lot of experiences. But I have to tell you honestly, um, when I was in college, now if you ask any lecturer if they know me, I am the type of the person who's not much getting involved into those operational stuff, because um, it was the mindset that I had back then. So the idea and what I need to stress is actually do not stereotype yourself in any way. So be open and be flexible for anything that comes along. So that's one thing. And then about performance evaluations. So performance evaluations, I would say, in multinational especially, and I think perhaps in other organizations also, you have kind of performance evaluations. So what happens in, especially in multinationals, you are given a certain rank after a certain lapse of time. I mean, you're evaluated, your performance is being evaluated. You have a set of KPIs. So this is not in any way to scare you, but to explain the reality when you walk into a multinational and when you start working. So I wish there was someone from the industry when I was an undergraduate. If someone actually told me these things are going to happen, it would have helped me to shape my mindset in a better way. So that's the whole point I'm trying to share with you all. So the first performance evaluation, I would say the very first one that I got, It was an absolute disaster. I got a really bad destructive criticism. So, but remember, you have to take all those feedback. Feedbacks are, first of all, they are very important. So you need to get the feedback about your performance and the way you handle yourself, everything when you start working, especially at a multinational, because from your peers as well as from your superiors, because those are opportunities for you to improve yourself. So performance evaluations, please consider them as opportunities rather than anything else. They will not define you. They are not final verdicts in any way. You have to consider them as opportunities and look for ways to improve your life, in your work life rather, your career, with the criticisms and all the performance evaluation feedbacks, I would rather call it, you're getting from your boss and from everyone else around you. And also, one important advice, I may say, and a point that I realized when I got the first feedback is basically now showing off and showcasing. Those are two different things. So I know, I think from the background that we are coming, we are not used to talk about our success and talk about our capabilities a lot, but especially when you're working at a multinational, it is key to talk about your skills and your knowledge and what you are capable of. Because if you are doing a perfect job every day, um, it's I mean, you're being very honest to yourself, to your job, and you're doing the perfect job, and maybe you're not keeping your boss or the important stakeholders informed as you have to be. So then you will actually stagnate at the same place. So you really need to showcase yourself. So showing off is not something that I recommend, but showcasing, it's really really important. So moving on, then after all that, all the negative feedback, etc., I started working as a process lead. So here it comes. This is why I am telling you, opportunities don't happen. You really need to create them. So integrated work systems was something that was totally new to Fontera also at that time. So my role as the process lead is also a role that that was created as a result of that manufacturing excellence integrated work systems. Um, so what happened was, there are different daily management systems in integrated work systems. So there's some DMS called defects handling systems. So defect handling is basically just considered that as a work orders management system. So there was the opportunity that I saw, that we saw as a team, is uh, that was a paper-based system, but we saw that there's an opportunity for us to digitize it. So why would you really waste more time on that when you see a certain opportunity? You have to make it a reality, you have to make it happen. So digitization of defects handling, that's one point, that's actually one of the turning points. With all the negative feedback that I got, I was actually, it was a self-realization moment for me, that opportunities don't happen, you need to create them. So that was the perfect opportunity. So as a result, the defects handling system was introduced. So, and that was a huge success. So when you encounter such opportunity, do not wait for it, you create certain opportunities and you make it happen. And then award winning moments also, through teamwork. So participation is key. If you are not someone who is willing to participate for teamwork, um, if you are looking to secure a role at a multinational, I think it's best if you start cultivating those kind of qualities in yourself. Because if I never participated in these projects, I would say in food safety and quality awards, and for the projects at the National Convention on Quality on Productivity, if I never participated for any of this, I don't think so. So that success, that chance, that opportunity to be successful, I would have really missed it. So I'm telling you, if you're naturally not someone who's taking part, try to engage more, and that will really pay you off. So let's move on, and feel free. Again, I'm reminding you, if you have anything to clarify, just Feel free to stop me and I'll explain and I'll give you any further clarification you need. Um, so after Fonterra, after I worked at Fonterra for 3 years, I moved to a larger multinational and still. So now, if I learned something from Fonterra, especially from all the feedbacks that I got, is now the version that I wanted to present at Ansel is obviously a better version of myself with all the feedback. So my first assignment was on a certain project, and I gave it my best, and it was a huge success. And so, what would you expect after doing a good work? Then comes my next performance evaluation. So obviously, I hoped and I expected my performance evaluation to go pretty well, but unfortunately, believe it or not, uh, the feedback that I got again was this time for different reasons. Not It was not a very positive one. So if you are trying to you have to uh, learn how to not to give up. So there are so many reasons and you have to get into this mindset. So if you are committed and if you are dedicated and if you know what you are doing, you shouldn't give up on it. So even if all those like I said earlier, it's not going to define yourself, all those feedbacks, it's not a final verdict, it's an opportunity. So take them in a positive way for different reasons, depending on different cultures in multinational companies. Even you may not exactly I mean, things may not go as planned. So that's completely okay as long as you know where to go. And then my reporting structure changed with time, and then I got the opportunity to report to the country director of the organization. So if I actually gave up at the point when I received a negative feedback after doing a great job, then I think I'd have again missed that opportunity to excel further. So, and another thing is, I am naturally a creative person, someone who likes to be creative. So, I'm sure when it comes to you, there are certain inherent qualities that you may have that you want to kind of include in your work in some way. So, for me, that quality was being creative. So, I actually looked for opportunities to be more creative. So, the important thing is you can be creative in your own way, irrespective of the job. So, one thing is, I remember that's a good story again, I think. One of the dashboards, say for instance, creating something like a dashboard, it is a very simple task. But can I be creative in that? Of course, there are so many ways to be creative. You can be as specific as possible and you can be as creative as possible. So I'm just telling you, based on my experience, one of the dashboards it's a simple task. So even if it was as simple as that, I kept everything as simple as possible as well. Especially when you are presenting, depending on your audience to whom you present, you have to keep things simple. Everybody should understand. So when I created that particular dashboard, because it was very creative and all the information was there in that particular single slide, it was actually standardized. It was requested by one of the vice presidents in the organization to standardize across other locations other than Lanka, in other countries like Kedah and whatnot. So I'm telling you, if you have certain inherent qualities, do not give up on them. You try to link those qualities and try to be successful in what you do. And don't really give up on those qualities. They are naturally in yourself, so you have to invest on those qualities. And then about maintaining the discipline, that is one important key. I think irrespective of where you are working, whether at a multinational or not, if you're given a certain task, if you're assigned something, you have to say for instance something like a daily report, you send it every day. So and if you're asked to make a certain report, you send out a fully complete report, not like parts of the report and someone else will have to fill in or your superior will have to give hundreds of advices to make it better. No, that's not the quality you want to maintain. That's not the example you want to set. So make completely full reports if you are given something like that, a task like that, and be a reliable person. Be a reliable person, and every time you make a presentation and every time you speak, you try to be as specific as possible. No vague terms, but be as specific as you can be. So those are the tips for success that I would give you based on my experience. So then I got promoted from the senior process engineer position to the associate manager level. And also one thing I actually wanted to tell you was earlier, when I started reporting to the country director, was I ready for that? It was kind of a challenge for me, because was my mindset ready for that particular experience? No, of course not. I was a Honestly, I was a very nervous. I was in a nervous situation, and I was second guessing myself. But no, just you have to grow out of your comfort zone if you really want to excel. So try to cultivate those qualities in your life, and that will really, really pay off. So, like I said earlier, when I got promoted, I wanted to pursue master studies. So I'm doing one on master's on sustainable process engineering. So that was kind of a passion that I found in myself. So a few years back, I never had the thinking or the plan to start on a master's. And actually, if you would ask me when I was in the university. If someone asked me what are your aspirations, or what are your plans after getting graduated, are you going to do some academic studies, I would be the first person to say no, because I was more than happy to conclude my studies after doing bachelor's. But like I said earlier, do not stereotype yourself. Do not be that version of yourself. Try to grow and try to look for opportunities, and that happen, make things happen. So then, from when I like I said earlier, I when I started doing the masters in sustainable process engineering, that gave me a huge opportunity to get selected to this program manager role for the global sustainable packaging program. So if I did not create that particular opportunity by pursuing master studies, who knows, maybe I may not be the best candidate out of the set of people they selected. So you have to try your luck, try your chances, and work towards it. I mean, if you do not participate, of course you will not ever get that chance. So again, some other qualities that you would like to have would be to build your network globally. And also, again, now when I moved from that senior process engineer to the associate manager level, all those Lean Six Sigma, Black Belt learnings, I didn't have a lot of instances to apply that knowledge. But I was constantly thinking, how am I going to link my knowledge without making it like a redundant load of knowledge? So I created that opportunity for myself. I created a certain way, a process comparison, a standard template that we can use by using Lean Six Sigma concepts for process comparisons. So look for opportunities and don't wait for things to just happen, because they don't happen unless you create it. So also be ready for new tools like the Smartsheet, Microsoft Smartsheet, and then, like I said earlier, for Power Apps, Power BI. So be aware of those things and do some learning in your free time. And when you are in a certain position, when you reach a certain level, you think about your next step. You don't have to boast about it or anything, but you have to plan a bit ahead and think about what are the trainings or what are the developments do I need. Because if you stay at the same place, at the same, and if you're really happy with the current state of yours, then you will naturally not need to, you will not be motivated to develop yourself in any way. Okay, so moving on, few more tips. Few more tips. So the first one, never be too busy at the entry level. I know I have seen a lot of people who are freshly coming from the university, fresh graduates. They are too busy at the entry level. Should you be busy? Of course, you have to be busy. You're in a certain learning curve, and it's a different culture, a lot of work. You can be busy. There are so many reasons, but you have in the back of your mind, you have to remember that you're in that entry level. Don't I mean don't focus only on less serious work just because you're at the entry level. Do some serious stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, just because you're in the entry level, don't be too busy. Because think, for instance, as an engineering trainee, if I was the busiest person in the organization, think about the GM of the organization. The GM would be he's probably the busiest person, and he should be. But do you have enough reasons to be so busy? So be organized. Do not be too busy at the entry level, because you should have some space to get accustomed and to organize, and that's also a skill that you can develop along the way. So then this is another really important point: mentors. So who are mentors? Mentors, I think in the university as well, you may have certain mentors. So when you start doing a certain job also, there are mentors. So that was pretty new for me. I have had people who have given me advices, but it's good to have some good mentors around you. If you are thinking about developing yourself, mentors play a great role. I have received really good inputs from my mentors, and I'm happy to say that I have a couple of mentors. And I firmly believe that if you are really looking to develop yourself and progress step by step in your career, I think mentors will play a really, really important role. So have some mentors. So mentors will help to build your strength. So of course, when you are given a certain feedback, like I said earlier, there should be people available for you to talk about it, and to rationalize whether this is, because all the feedbacks that you will be receiving may not be true for different reasons, and that you will learn when you work at a corporate. But to cultivate all these qualities as a professional, you will really it's really good to have some mentors. And then have some values. Now this is also one important point. um, Corporates have certain values. So those two values that you can see, those snapshots that I have taken, one is from Fontera and one is from Ansel. So even corporates have values. So cultivate some values in yourself also. For instance, to do what's right, to challenge your boundaries, to make it happen. They are not just a set of words. Those are the values that you need to live by. So it's really good to when you progress in your career step by step, it will really guide you to steer in the correct way if you have some good set of values. So think about that aspect also as you start working, especially in a multinational. And then one important point again: don't be too soon to connect all the dots. Now, when I was in the university, like I said, I was not really sure whether I was going to. I was actually I was not. It's not that I was not ready. I was determined not to do a master's, not to do higher studies. So, but as time goes by, as you walk along, you will identify some opportunities, and so you will identify different passions, and then so you have to invest a bit on that. And maybe all the passions that you have, all the work that you do, all the trainings and stuff that you do, they will not be interconnected or perfectly connected. That will not make sense right now, but few years down the line, you will really see the connection. So don't be too soon to connect all the dots. So give it some time. You need to be patient also. If you're really looking to grow, you have to give it some time as well. Don't be too soon to connect all the dots. And then be aware about your weaknesses, and work on ways to improve. So you have to admit the fact that there are certain areas for you to improve. So look at them as opportunities. So those are not your strengths. So that will automatically become your weak points. We all have, and we all should work towards um, getting rid of those weaknesses or mitigating those weaknesses. What can you do to, if you are not aware of certain subject that is very relevant to your job, and if you're if, say for instance you're going to do a different stint, and then that's a different set of work and you are not too sure how to do it because there's a knowledge gap. What would you do then? You have to think about something like a training. So you shouldn't focus on your worries and the weaknesses, but you have to look at and find ways to improve. You have to look at the bright side, look at opportunities. So, and this point I think will be pretty relevant for a lot. LinkedIn is more important than Instagram. LinkedIn, so keep it updated as possible, as much as possible, because spending time on Instagram may not help to look at a good career opportunity. So there are so many opportunities sometimes, and you have to just tap it in the correct way. So don't spend too much time on Instagram, but rather, even if you do so, make sure to invest the same amount of time on LinkedIn also, because there are so many opportunities, so many good content that is being shared on LinkedIn. So to be a good professional, I think that some of that essence is also important. Um, and also nail the art of being happy. So you don't live for work, you work to live. I think you will all agree with me, because if you do all this work and you end up being unhappy, so then I don't think any of this will make sense. So you have to nail the art of being happy while you are somewhat busy and while you are doing your job. Sometimes, if you take a certain financial year in a multinational or any other organization, I think there are peak times and you will have to work a lot, and so your workload will change. But irrespective of all of that, irrespective of the nature, you have to nail the art of being happy while you do all of these tasks. And this is the most, I think, the highlight of this presentation. Career progression. It is a continual improvement journey. So it's not like you are going to do one big task or you are going to be successful in one particular project and you are saying that's it, that's all I'm going to do. So this is it, and you are completely happy with your status. No, not really. If you have to always think about the progression, the next step, the next level, you should always focus on that. So it doesn't happen overnight. You have to do some work, and for that reason, I would say baby steps are okay as long as you learn to walk every day. So it's okay. Continual improvement is key. You have to, it may take a decent amount of time, but whatever you do, you do it be honest yourself and you do it, and you have to learn to walk every day. And then doing nothing at all versus making very small consistent efforts. So I think as engineers the way our mind works is by looking at numbers. So if you see, if you 1 to the power 365, so think about 365 days, you do nothing, you maintain doing the same thing, you are getting the same result, you will be at the same place. But 1.01 to the power 365 is 37.7. How big is that? So it's like a 0.1% difference. But if you go on doing it, continual improvements, just baby steps, that's progression. And it is important to climb up to the top. Like I said earlier, it's important to reach to the pinnacle, but it is even more important to enjoy the hike. So some important tips, I think that's based on my experience, it's very relevant for me, and I hope it will be relevant for you as well. Um, So now I think I would like to take 5 minutes to reflect. Let's have a reflective session because I would like to, now I have been talking about my experiences so far. I would like to link with you as well. So let's take 5 minutes to reflect. I will help you on this. So the things that I have discussed so far, any qualities that you may have tried to develop in yourself to excel better as a professional. So I'm giving you some hints now. So for me, I would say participation. Sometimes I was second guessing whether to participate or not. So I wanted to develop as a better professional. I wanted to have that ability to naturally get that ability to participate in anything that goes on in any relevant thing that goes on in the organization. So that is one of the qualities that I try to develop or improve because that will automatically create so many opportunities. And then, have you ever tried or created an opportunity for yourself to improve your current status? So, I think that is what I have been talking so far. So, have you done it? I would like to hear based on your experiences so far. I know maybe you have done two internships so far. So anything, just whatever that comes to your mind, just think a bit so we can share our experiences. And any inspiration you may have picked from today's discussion, which will guide you to steer better. So I would really like to hear this. So I will give you about 5 minutes. This is a reflective session, like I said earlier. So I would like to hear your thoughts. Let me share the screen so you know the questions. So I will give you about a few minutes, and if you're already ready to answer, please go ahead. Anyone? Any qualities that you may have tried to develop in yourself to excel better as a professional. If you ever thought that, yeah, I'm going to be working, I would like to work at a multinational. So, what kind of qualities should I cultivate more? So, have you ever thought about those aspects and have you already improved yourself with that thought? Everyone, are you clear with the question? The questions, rather?
Um, I would
Yeah.
like to go first, if it's okay.
Yes, yes. Who is this?
I'm Tirangi. Right now, I'm a trainee at Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology. And uh, for me, one quality that I tried to develop during my training period was communication.
Okay, that's amazing. Did you see a certain gap and you realized it, or it was just was it based on your personal experience, or what
Uh,
you thought you looked for
yeah,
a specific opportunity, or just how was it like?
and yeah, normally during sometimes during meetings, we got the opportunity to express our ideas. So
Mhm.
normally we don't try to normally talk, but during that time I tried to express my ideas if I had any.
Yes, great, Tilangi. So that's I think it's a very honest opinion, and probably I have thought in the same way few years back when I was an undergraduate. I think I can relate to your experience a lot. So I didn't really engage in a lot of conversations. So I think from that particular start now, based on a lot of feedback and stuff, I have come up to this all these 5 years up to this particular level. So it would have been great if I started all those qualities, improving these qualities from that initial stages. So good one, Tilani. Thank you. Anyone else who would like to engage in this conversation and share some of your experiences?
Yes, madam, can I join?
Yes, sure. Who is this?
My name is Pasindu and I'm from E16 batch. And the gap that I understood after coming to the university was that even though I could write a little bit in English, I was kind of hesitant when it comes to when it comes to speaking English. And as soon as I came to university, this faculty, I understood that there's a gap. And then what I did was I took part in several clubs which are specified for public speaking and boosting confidence. And from there onwards, I actively engaged in all those club activities and took my chances. And then I developed, and as I can sense, I have developed a little bit from where I started up to the place that where I am right now. And also I'm a little bit confident than I was before. And in addition to
Mhm.
that, uh, to develop my vocabulary once again this was something that I was doing daily. uh, I uh, I took out some words which were random and then googled the synonyms for them. So I try to learn five new words for each day, and from that I think once again I learned, I enriched my vocabulary also. And so, as this slide shows, the
Mhm.
point that I focused were communication, confidence, and also vocabulary.
Amazing. Who is this again? I missed your name, I think.
My name is Pasindu.
Pasindu,
Yes.
Pasindu, awesome work. I am really happy to hear that experience from you. Honestly, I did not. I mean, you are a improved version of yourself right now. When you spoke, when you answered that particular question, I thought you're an expert. I mean, that version of yourself few years back, I think it's no more. You're in a much better level, and unless you share this experience, I wouldn't have guessed that. You had a certain version like that. So amazing. Keep doing good work.
Thank you, madam.
That's and I would also like to hear for the second one. Have you ever created or tried to create an opportunity for yourself to improve your current status? Anyone? Or even for the first question, anyone who would like to share your experiences? Yes? Now, shall I name a few? I don't like to do it because now I have been talking about creating opportunities. So, with this, I really hope your participation should be much better. What do you think? If you got any, at least an ounce of inspiration out of my story so far, I would like to hear. Even for the first question, I wouldn't mind if you would like to share some qualities. Yes? Shall I name them? Beam Sarat, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Do you have anything to share with us?
Yeah, the most problem was when I speak, the person who listens couldn't understand, because even when I speak in Sinhala, the person couldn't understand. So I work it out, and I join some clubs like ISAC for improve that communication skills. So I think I got not fully confident, but I managed to about 75% to speak to to communicate properly. I think that's a good start to as a undergraduate. I think I hope to develop it to a upper standard in future.
Yes, great. Bimsar, that's really true. And it's really relatable. So, irrespective of the language we use, sometimes the way we speak naturally may be very confusing. And that may be a negative point, especially at a multinational when you are doing presentations and stuff. If your audience cannot understand what you are trying to convey, that's a big miss. So it's so good that you got into the ISEC and you're looking at ways to improve this. So you guys really continue to amaze me. So you are one step ahead, I would say. So based on all these experiences, I think you're doing really, really good. You're on the right path. I'll tell you a true, I mean, a story. One of the um, so from my working place, there was one person who was not really good in the language, and also he was not really good at explaining also the right message. So when he was asked to do a presentation, um, he didn't. I mean, it was a really huge challenge for him. I mean, it's normal. Even if I'm given a certain notice for some unprepared meeting, I would feel the same way. But the most important thing is you shouldn't quit just because you're given that kind of challenges. You have to grow out of your comfort zones and create a lot of opportunities. Because if you do not grab that opportunity, after that you will not really get to see the picture beyond it. So you have to take that opportunity. So what happened was that person actually he resigned few days after, and he didn't really make that presentation either. See, so it's a really huge challenge. Sometimes all this, if we do not try to improve ourselves, it could be a really big issue. So what you are doing is really, really important. So that's the point I really needed to emphasize here. So I would also like to, is anyone has created an opportunity for yourself to improve the current status? I will give you a small help, I would say. So you have gone for certain internships. Have you ever tried to create, uh, I mean, to work at the same organization after completion of your studies? Have you tried to pitch that idea? Have you tried to show your good work and to convince them that you're capable of this? I would like to hear if you have really at least thought about that aspect. And any inspiration also. I'll give about two more chances about for anyone. Anuttara, are you there? Sandeepani, grab the opportunity to engage, because it's a really frank discussion, I think. So it's really important to reflect our experiences. That is how we will link. So Sandeepani, Purnima, anyone? Dilini? Okay, I guess not, but if you feel free, please speak up, and it's really okay. I mean, take even small chances like this as simple opportunities, and speak for yourself. See, one thing is when you work as a professional, say for instance, you are asking for a raise in your pay. So no one is going to ask if that is needed by you, but you have to speak up for yourself. So for that you have to be ready. I learned it in the hard way, so that's what I'm trying to tell you. I learned it in the very hard way. So for you to shape up your careers, I think what I explained to you may have helped. So I have to tell you that I am one call away. So please feel free to ping me for any type of guidance. I had to mention I will provide guidance free of charge, of course. So tips on what makes a good presentation. Now these are specific subjects, tips on what makes a good presentation. And if you want to improve your English speaking and narrating abilities further, please feel free. And how to be ready for your dream job, and any type of career advice that you may need. Because sometimes you may really do not know what it will look like until you step in. So if you want to build your resume and guidance on project management for anything, I'm one call away. So you can contact me through my personal mail or through my contact number. So contact details are there, and you can contact me in any way for any help. I am here free of charge, of course. So I hope you got some inspiration from my story. It wasn't a long deck of slides, but I really hope that if you got at least a pinch of inspiration out of my story, that is my satisfaction. So I wish you all the best of luck in life. So thank you, and I think we can proceed with the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, dear madam. We are highly grateful for that informative presentation on creating opportunities. Now it's time for our audience to raise their questions. You may use either the raise hand button or you may type your questions in the chat box so that I can read them out loud.
Feel free to ask anything if you have any kind of specific advice that you may need, anything.
Madam, we have our first question in the chat box. What should we focus on if we expect to build up an overseas career?
Okay, so I think if you really focus on building up an overseas career, one important thing is I don't actually advise you to move from the current exposure level of exposure to overseas directly. It's best if you get the exposure at a multinational, because you will get a similar experience. Now, there are so many aspects that you will need to focus. Of course, one thing would be the language. You have to be kind of like I was explaining in the presentation throughout. You have to be able to convey what you really need to communicate well, and the culture. I think the amount of experience that you have through just 2 internships may not be enough to directly move from the current level of exposure to an OC career. But of course, if you are planning for something like that, maybe it would have been better in one of your internships. Now, say for instance, you are in second year, then in the third year, if you plan for an internship outside of Lanka, that would be great. Or try to so one thing you can do is, if you're doing when you're focusing on the internships, try to get into multinational, so you can before you actually graduate and to get to a multinational, before you get graduated, try to do some internships in multinationals, so you get the similar experience before you get graduated. So with that, you can create a lot of links. Say, for instance, now, like I mentioned in the presentation, when I got the chance to move for a global project, it's almost like working for an overseas company. So if I talk about my team right now, the amount of interaction I have with local teams is minimum. I'm working with so many Europeans, so across ANSEL in different locations in Southeast Asia, maybe in Kedah, in Brussels office, so things like that. So if you are looking for an overseas career, you first try to get a sense or get an idea about what kind of experience you are getting out of a multinational. So focus your internships on those companies, and either in multinationals or have a overseas internship itself. So plan ahead, so that will really help you to shape your career. I hope I have answered your question, Chamit. Any other questions?
Yes, Madam. Pasindu Jayasuri is raising his hand. Pasindu, you may ask your question.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you, Akira. Madam, I always had this dilemma whether to do a Master of Business Administration or Master of Science in Engineering after graduating, after 2 years of experience. And so, what would you suggest? What would be the best suggestion for an engineering undergraduate who is expecting to move into a management level? And also, if we were to follow Master of Science in Engineering, the amount of options that we have in Sri Lanka is kind of limited. In Moreover, we have sustainable process engineering and another course for polymer, and also here in Peradina we have Master of Engineering Management. But if you want to follow something like food engineering, pharmaceutical engineering, or something similar, what should be our choice? What should be the option that we have that we should follow?
Okay. So MSc versus business administration or an MSc in engineering, right? So I would say, honestly speaking, with the experiences that I have gained so far, I think if you're working in Sri Lanka, even at a multinational, and if you're hoping to go to the management level, the knowledge that you have, the technical knowledge, the specialization you already have would be sufficient from the bachelor's degree itself. Because for that reason, I would say that business administration would be favored. And also, if you know, I will share my experience also. At one point, I was thinking whether to do an MBA or the MSc in sustainable process engineering. So I had the same kind of dilemma. So I actually got registered to MBA also and I followed the lectures for about 1 month also at Japur. But then I realized for my personal reasons, now I'm doing a sustainable packaging role, and that is very relevant for me in terms of the career that I do. So that's a different case. And also, if I'm ever to do an MSc, I wouldn't have done any MSc in engineering if it was not a hot topic in the industry. So sustainability, it's a hot topic in the industry, and you will gain a competitive edge if you choose a subject area like that. MBA, I know that people would say that MBA is something that most of the people will pursue, but however, with an engineering background and with the type of the focus that you are looking for in corporates, I think that will help you. So I think that's one thing. Was there another question, Hasindu?
Yes, madam. If it was a Master of Engineering, a Master of Science in Engineering, the options that we have here in Sri Lanka is kind of limited because of we have for sustainable process engineering and polymer and Master of Engineering Management. And if we were to look for something like food engineering, pharmaceutical engineering, what should we do in that case, madam?
Okay, so I think yes. So MSc engineering courses for food engineering may not be available. I know I am aware of that frustration because I used to work at Fonterra and I was looking at some of those options also. But so MSc may not be. I mean, if you are looking through that sector, masters is of course valued. But I will say two things. So first one is masters is okay, but some other trainings and certifications, say for instance BRC audits, food safety and quality certifications, there are so many options that you can look at. So when you get into that industry, you will automatically get all those options. And if you want, I will link you up with some experts from the industry so you can get some better options. Now I moved from food industry to apparel, so so that's a shift. So I can link you with some corporate individuals if you are really interested. I know there were so many trainings at Fonterra also, they offered a lot. So you can really do that. You can look at that option. So that is one thing. And also one more point I just wanted to add regarding that MSc. I know in my organization there are certain people who are specialized in areas like MSc in statistics. So they, from their personal experience, they feel that the qualification they have earned is pretty redundant when it comes to work, because not so many hardcore engineering or mathematics related subjects are applied for at least 1% of the job workload you are doing. So Pasindu, I will be very happy to give you some specific qualifications if you are more interested. It will not be a master's, but some specific trainings. And there are some other in, you know, when we are working in the food industry, if you are in dairy industry, of course, you know, certain giants like Tetra Pak. So there are certain specific trainings that you are given. For instance, you know, for boilers you have Forbes Marshal. So things like that, so many hands-on experiences, numerous opportunities are there. So in terms of masters maybe limited, but there are so many options. I can link you with that.
Thank you very much, madam. And madam, I have one more follow-up question for that. And
Sure.
when I was talking with our seniors, most of them started doing masters like MBO, be it PMBO, MSc, but some of them, about half of them, have dropped the course halfway through because their weekends were packed with the masters and the weekdays were packed with their actual profession. So, what would you advise out of the two options for masters, one for the part-time or the full-time? And if we are going for the full-time, once again, dedicating one whole year for masters, would it be the best option? Because in that 1 year, would it be better to have the professional exposure than following the master?
What I would advise is basically as a fresh graduate, I think it's best to invest much as possible your time to get the best by spending your time at the workplace. So, and with time you can think which is the best option for you. For instance, if I may say, if you ask me MBA full time or part time, I would say, why are we actually doing an MBA? Subject matter, that is correct, but most importantly, when you do an MBA, the best advantage that you will get is you will get to widen your network, the professional network. So you know what, those important contacts you will not find for a full-time course. So they are doing MBAs during weekends. So if you want to get in touch with them, that's the best thing. Growing your network and all the contacts, that's the basic main advantage of doing an MBA, I would say, not only the qualification. So also what I understood was they are, if you think about those universities, those local universities, and also there are so many other universities that are offering MBAs, private universities. So because they cannot commit their whole weekend for MBAs, what they do is they are going for private universities. So they will have to just spend about at least just one day out of the two, not both days, Saturday and Sunday. So then they are more towards that kind of qualifications, MBA, and that kind of options. So then 1 out of the 2 days will be free. So they don't have too much time to spend on the qualification itself. So that's how it's like. From my knowledge, that's how it's like. So, and I would say, if it is possible, please pursue a master's, even if it takes like both days of your weekend, because build that level of don't be a workaholic, but build that level um, of discipline. Then I mean it will pay off, and like I said, you will connect all the dots later. Not too soon, you will not be able to see the picture, but it's worth it. It's really worth it, and you will realize it at the right time.
Thank you
that
very
okay,
much.
Pasindhu?
Yes,
All good?
madam. Yes,
Anything
madam. All
else?
good. Thank you very much, madam. It cleared all the doubts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Madam, hope you can hear me.
Yes. Who is this?
Sir.
Okay.
Madam, I have a question. As general, we know that there is a less number of jobs for chemical engineers. How can we survive on that in Sri Lanka?
I didn't get you, Bim Sarah, right?
Yes, ma'am. As general, we know that madam, there is less number of jobs for chemical engineers in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
How can we survive from that after graduating from that issue?
I would say, yeah, if you take the industry, we are not really applying a lot of technical knowledge as chemical engineers. But there are some, you focus on that. So there are plenty in that aspect, there are plenty of opportunities. So I think it's the way we look at it, because of course, if we think about our final year design, we will not be applying that kind of subject matter anywhere unless you join to a certain um, for instance, I was designing an extraction column for my final project. So when I came to Fontera, I got to know that there are actually people, suppliers, who are making these kind of equipment. So I think it's the lack of, in some sense, we are not aware that those kind of opportunities exist. There are sanitary designing companies, so so many opportunities are there, although we are not very familiar. And honestly speaking, uh, for me, even I had the same thought that as a process engineer, I will not be able to contribute a lot. But from Fontera and from Ansel, there are like so many opportunities for you to work as process engineers. Plenty of opportunities, I would say. So limited, but you have the opportunity. And I would honestly say process engineers, yeah, hardcore process engineers, maybe it's a question mark, but I think being engineers, it's about the way we look at certain things. So it's about the logical aspect of it. So you don't have to be doing hardcore engineering jobs sometimes, but at the managerial level, there are certain ways to make some decisions. It's the way we approach. The way we approach is the most important strength of us as engineers, maybe process engineers or engineers as a whole. So think about that. So there are so many opportunities also. And if you now, for instance, if there's a certain specific industry that you are interested, you start getting into contact, try to create internships from that level, and then don't wait till the last moment like I did. But you can start approaching the corporate individuals. There are so many seniors, I think, working in so many relevant industries. So I would advise that get in touch with those individuals also, and look at that positive aspect. And there are so many opportunities now.
Yes, madam. Thank you, madam.
Did I answer to you?
Yes, madam. Thank you, madam.
Okay, madam, if there are no more questions, we may move on with the schedule. And now I would like to invite Pilangi Kasturi Arachi, Secretary of Society of Chemical and Process Engineering student, to deliver the...
1 minute, please. I'm Anushka here.
Yes, madam. Sure, madam.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Thanushi. So thank you so much. And we are always proud of you, and we are very happy that you are doing well in the industry. And congratulations for your new appointment in Ansel. Yeah, so I wish you all the best, and we are very happy. Okay, thank you very much, Thanushi, for spending your time with our students, and it was a very valuable session. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Anushka madam. I'm really pleased to hear all that, and I will continue to be in touch with juniors as always. And like I said, my juniors, please be in contact if you ever want any career advice or whatsoever I explained. I am just one call away.
Thank you, Thanushi. You are always a treasure to us. You are always there for us to help. Thanks. Thank you. You can go ahead, students.
Okay, thank you, madam. According to the schedule, now I would like to invite Tilangi Kasturi Arachi, Secretary of Society of Chemical and Process Engineering students, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Akira. Good evening, everyone. It is my honor on behalf of SCAPES to propose a word of thanks speech and acknowledge the contribution of everyone who have dedicated their time and energy to make today's event a success. First, I would like to express my gratitude to our guest speaker, Engineer Thanushi Perera, for not only sparing her very invaluable time to share her experience in the field of chemical and process engineering, but also for inspiring us to reach beyond our limits and be extraordinary in anything we do. Thank you, madam, for putting your best effort to make this event successful with your commendable talk. Next, I would like to thank our beloved academic staff of the Department of Chemical and Process Engineering for their valuable contribution and encouragement in all our efforts. Last but not least, I thank all the participants who have joined with us today and the committee of SCAPES, without whom this would not have been possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tilangi. And with the delivery of the vote of thanks, now we have come to the end of this fabulous evening. Let me take this opportunity to thank everyone who have joined together with us, even amidst their busy schedules. Let's wind up this meeting until we meet again with another.